I'm pleased to say I'm joined by the newest first-time major winner in the PDC, Ross Smith. Thanks for the time, Ross. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. We're talking only 3 days after you won the European Championship. What have the last 3 days been like for you as a major champion? Has it fully sunk in yet what you achieved at the weekend?
I don't know if it's fully sunk in yet, but it feels like it could have done, I suppose. The first night was a bit, of a whirlwind, just trying to get my head around it a bit, because, it was an amazing feeling. And then obviously coming home, reading like messages and, that sort of stuff there is, I got a bit emotional, to be fair. It sort of sunk in, I think, the next day. So, yeah, because it's sort of like a dream come true, isn't it, to win a major? So, over the moon with it.
And you mentioned in your interview on stage with Dan Dawson, if you got back in time, that you'd try and get to the gym on Monday. Did you manage to squeeze a session in?
I was really hoping to be fair, but I'd been in the end, the ferry and that got delayed, and then I also completely forgot, being a bad dad, I suppose. I forgot I promised I'd take the kids trick-or-treating, so I ended up chucking a clown costume on and a mask and took them out trick-or-treating as soon as I got home as well, so the gym had to wait till the Tuesday.
Well, I suppose that the costume, that was a bit of disguise. You didn't get recognised when you were going out trick-or-treating?
Yeah, well, it was pretty dark. I probably wouldn't have got recognised anyway, to be fair. But yeah, it was good. It was good. The kids enjoyed it, that's the main thing.
Good to hear. Well, we'll come back to the weekend just gone later, but I want to rewind to when we last had you on our show, and it was just after you won your first senior title in the PDC. That got you a debut at the World Match Play last year. How did you find that first experience of playing at the Winter Gardens?
Playing at the match play again, it's like another dream come true. It's something that I've watched on TV for so long, since I was a kid, and it seems to be such a difficult tournament to actually qualify for. You really have to be on your game all year round, consistently and things like that. So to finally get up on that stage was a real proud moment for me. Yeah, I loved every minute of it.
And later that year, you also had a debut in the World Grand Prix, and we noticed on your shirt you had it plain on the back, and I don't know if it was you or your manager tweeted us to say, I don't like to make a fuss, just plod through, but you've gone a bit more adventurous now with your name and a nod to where you're from in Dover on the back of your shirt. Talk us through the current design.
Yeah, it's basically like with things like that, I'm not one to sort of boast around. I don't do a lot of social media or anything like that. I sort of let a few other people take care of that sometimes. So, but yeah, I like to just get on with the game. But I've also been, told to sort of be a bit more adventurous, you could say. So, yeah, I've chucked the RS logo on the back, and obviously I've got my son's name on my collar, and I've got the Dover football crest, sort of, it's part of it on the back of the shirt as well, with obviously the White Cliffs, Dover and the castle. So obviously I'm a proud Dover lad and Kent lad, so yeah, that's what that's all about.
Very nice. Well, we'll fast forward to Ali Pally, which is our last stop of last year, and after getting past Jeff Smith in the first round, you and Stephen Bunting, it's been probably forgotten a little bit how good that game was because of how many good games we had during that tournament, but you won through in extra legs. I think it was a 167, a 102 finish at the end of it. What did that feel like to win a game like that?
Yeah, it was a brilliant game to win. Again, funnily enough, probably the only things I sort of remember about that game, the 167 and the 102. But yeah, obviously holding my nerve at the last stage of that game, was very important, and keeping my concentration, and especially against Stephen Bunting. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him, well, probably most of my darting career, and obviously we all know how good Stephen is, so yeah, it was a good game to come through.
And you said afterwards that your Christmas dinner was going to taste so much better after winning that game, and after Christmas you were the first game back after the break against Dirk van Dijvenbode, 3-0 up. Dirk comes back to win a tough way to finish what was a breakthrough year for you, but how did you reflect on 2021?
Yeah, Christmas dinner was great. New Year absolutely sucked. I'm not going to lie. And you know what? Even to this day, people still, people don't remember the good matches as such, but God Almighty, I've been reminded about that, losing that game against Dirk so many times. Even now, people say to me, I don't know how you lost that game, and I think, leave off sort of thing. But give me a break now. It's been ages. So but No, all in all, that year was probably one of my best. Well, it was my best year I'd had, probably because of qualifying for the match play for the first time, the Grand Prix. I feel like I was playing well, even though I didn't do anything special in them. I thought I played pretty decent. Just, I suppose, learning to keep my head straight at certain times and get on with the game and try and come through. So yeah, all good.
Well, moving on to this year, and you only just missed out on the World Match Play, but you did enough to get in the World Grand Prix. What was it like going into that? I think it was the last Euro Tour event before the cut-off, knowing that you had to win that first game to qualify for a major.
Oh yeah, obviously I was gutted not to qualify for the match play, but again that was in my own hands. The start of the year was really bad for me to a point. You start questioning yourself and your career, thinking I'm going back to a day job. It gets that bad sometimes. You can fall into bad habits and it's a slippery slope. So for me to actually turn that around and to qualify for the Grand Prix somehow, I don't quite know how I've done it. So yeah, that was an amazing thing. But to also have the pressure of one game, it was sort of like a one-game shootout to a certain degree. And then when I then drew, Steve Beaton, he's probably one of my best mates on the circuit. I travel with Steve and knock about with him and that. And he's a good guy, and I want him to do well. So to draw in first round, it was sort of like, God, it's going to be a tough game. But yeah, so I was really happy to win that game as well.
And we've also seen you recently mix it up with your walk-on song as well, switching to a bit of Billy Ocean, Red Light Spells Danger, which will be, I've got to say, a dark horse for our walk-on of the year in our awards this year. But what was behind the change?
Behind the change, to be fair, the other songs weren't that great, and I was thinking about putting on Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi, but Madars has beat me to that. So but yeah, at the end, I love that song. I always have done for ages. If you're out and about and you hear it, everyone seems to sort of dance away and things like that. So it's just a song that I absolutely love, and it sort of gets me going a bit. So I thought, why not?
Well, it definitely got you going at the weekend, and we heard it plenty of times at the weekend as well. Of course, you had a couple of quarterfinals on the Euro Tour this year that helped you get back into the European Championship and as the 27th seed out of the 32 players. But making that trip over to Germany last week, how were you feeling about your game?
I was feeling really good, to be fair. I felt good about myself. Like I say, playing in the Grand Prix, and I feel like I sort of had a half decent run at the last Players' Championships, and getting to the quarters sort of gives you a bit of confidence. So, but yeah, going there felt good. I know I seem to always play well against Joe Cullen, and he usually plays well against me, so I knew it'd be a sort of a 50-50 game, tough game. But it was just like literally just turn up and take each game one at a time and treat each game as a final and concentrate. So yeah, I felt pretty good.
And it was an impressive start to the week. The win against Joe Cullen coming back from 4-2 down, and then the game against Dimitri van der Berg. I had a look, all 10 of your legs you won in 15 darts or less. Both games 100 plus average. You're in the final day of a major for the first time in a couple of years. So off the back of those two games, how did you feel at the start of Sunday?
Yeah, I felt really good going into Sunday. Obviously, I feel like my stage performances this year is what's carried me through, because my floor doesn't seem to be picking any results up from the start of the season. So, but yeah, on stage it seems to be going really well, and I felt confident, especially after winning against Joe. Joe's obviously an amazing player, and we had a great game the week before at Players' Champs. Both averaged 103, and he beat me 6-5 and picked the 130 on the ball. So, yeah, I felt good, and playing Dimitri, beating him as well. Well, we all know what Dimitri's capable of, don't we? So he's an unbelievable player, for such a young lad as well. He's got an old head on on young shoulders. So, but yeah, I felt really good going into Sunday. Really good.
And you said earlier a lot of people still mention the game with Durka Ali Pali to you, but I reckon that'll be replaced by the game with Peter Wright that you had in the quarterfinals. 4-0 down, 8-3 down. Peter Wright missing darts to go 9-3, and you win 7 legs in a row to win 10-8. A massive win against the world number one. And afterwards you said Peter had some encouraging words for you.
Yeah, to be fair, I just kept saying to myself at one point, I think it was obviously 8-3 down, I thought, I don't let this be an embarrassing show here. You know, come on, son, get going now and try and reel a few legs off. And obviously, you start reeling them off. You start getting a bit more confident. And then, you know, the next minute I thought, I could have you here. You know, and hoping that he wasn't going to kick in and do something magical of, like, you know, a couple of 11 darters or something to seal it. We all know what Peter can do. Obviously, being world number one and world champion. So, but no, got to about 8-7, 8-0. I thought, oh, you know, I'm in with a chance here if I can just do that bit of magic myself, which obviously I did. And yeah, for Peter to then say that to me after the game, I don't even know if he recalls it, to be fair, but, you know, he looked at me and just said to me, you know, just stay focused and, you know, you can do this, and you didn't have to do that. And, you know, it's something that I really appreciate. He's a really good guy. I actually spoke to him when I was having a lot of trouble at the start of the year as well, briefly just on the practice board at one of the Euro events, and it's just a little bit of advice here and there on, you know, practice routines and stuff like that. But yeah, again, you know, a lot of the players, they don't have to do that, but Peter did, and yeah, I think he's a really good guy and I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, nice touch. And going into that final session then, we were guaranteed a new major winner. For you, it was already uncharted territory, being in a first major semi-final for the first time, but you get past Chris Dobie 11-9 to get to the final, and we saw from the walk-on for that final you were up for it, engaging with the crowd, spurring yourself on. What was it like walking out for that major final and those early moments on stage?
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible to walk out there. But again, I was pumping myself up a bit because very, very strangely against Peter, I think the first half of the match I was really struggling with. Like, I had no nerves. I've never experienced that in my life. So I had to really try and sort of pump myself up or get some adrenaline going. And that was a completely new experience for me. Something that I don't want to have again, to be fair, because I think you need a bit of nerve and adrenaline to help you through. So, but yeah, so to come out, I sort of tried pumping myself up, getting involved with the crowd a bit, and to walk out in front of them, that sort of crowd in a major final. I'm very, very grateful and privileged, and, you know, yeah, absolutely amazing thing.
Well, you mentioned there about not having any nerves against Peter Wright. It didn't look like you had any nerves in the final. I mean, what a start you had, a 1-3-3 finish, a 1-2-1 just in the first two legs. Did those two finishes, did they settle you down, give you any extra belief that you could go all the way?
Yeah, it did settle me down. And I, to be fair, again, I thought to myself, you know, trying to win it in your own sort of head and deal with things, I thought to myself, you know, there's no pressure on me really. You know, I'm the underdog. Michael's, you know, world number 4. He's, you know, been in major finals before. Michael was probably expected to win his first major title. You know, I was sort of probably brushed aside maybe, especially being it my first time in the final. So, yeah, you know, I felt really good going into it, but at the same time, I just kept saying to myself that, you know, just stay focused. Don't really take any notice of the crowds. I've got quite a bit of booing and things like that, where they obviously favoured Michael. But I just literally just kept saying to myself, just throw, just stay switched on and just throw. And it really paid off.
Yeah, it certainly did. And from 9-8 up, a couple of 25 finishes gets you over the line to win it 11-8. When that 8-8 goes in, you become a major champion, a feeling that not many players have had before. Can you describe what that moment was like?
To be fair, it was a bit of a whirlwind. You know, I didn't really know what to. I didn't really have any feelings. It was just amazing, but at the same time, you sort of feel a bit numb and in a dream. You know, it's something that you sort of dream of, and then it becomes a dream. So yeah, to actually do it was brilliant. And, you know, I think as well, what helped with me focusing was knowing that I've played Michael in a few finals and the Players' Champs, and, you know, I've gone like 4-0 up and things like that. I took a lead and against him quite a few times, and Michael's such a good player, you know, and he's come back and beat me. So I think I was always wary of that. Playing him, I thought to myself, even if you go 2-0, 3-0 up, whatever it is, just you've got to stay concentrating. You've got to concentrate, because otherwise, yeah, I know he's done it before. He'll come and bite me back on the bum, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but yeah, it's an amazing achievement and something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
And we saw as well, you had your partner there with you. You shared that moment afterwards on stage, having the pictures with the trophy. And as our colleague Matthew Kiernan, the darting nerd, who you all know from the local circuit, he often says to me, behind a dart player there is a team as well, family, friends, sponsors, management. How important have they been for you on this path to becoming a major champion?
Yeah, they've been really crucial, to be fair. My family, from absolutely every one of them. You know, my mum and dad from day one, since I was, a 14-year-old boy playing, taking me to Super League games, through Kent and getting back at midnight. That, they've been through absolutely everything with me, from England youth darts and county, and, the list is ridiculously long. So, but everyone, even new people in my life, my little boy, absolutely everyone, and friends. I've got so much support from friends, and it's not just this tournament. They're there all the time for me, texting me, even at Players' Championships. I'll get, 6 or 7 messages. Good luck this weekend, mate. And, they're all doing their jobs. And, I've got a lot of support, and I'm so grateful for that.
And one of your friends who's a big supporter of our show, Kevin Fitzpatrick, I said we had this chat lined up with you, and he said, brilliant, mate. I've had a couple of runs with Ross a few years back with him over the White Cliffs of Dover before a pro tour in Barnsley Upper Hill, as we ran past bemused Max Hopp. So I know he's a good runner, and I think Paul Nicholson said in commentary once he saw him run around MK Dons Stadium when he was playing there. So could you ask him, please, does he still take his trainers to have a run before the pro tours or tournaments?
I don't actually know. There's a reason behind it. So I was, I started running with Kevin, and he's been down. He's done like an 8-mile run along the cliffs and things like that. It was, good fun, and I was really fit at the time. Probably not as fit as now, but I was running around MK Dons, and I was playing okay, but I think I was wearing myself out as well, and I learnt a big thing there with weirdly when I was in Coventry, I then had that run and won my first Players' Championship, and I didn't do anything that week. So I've sort of now stuck to it and thought, well, if I do anything now, I might do something in the evening, or what I have been doing is going out for a long walk now and again, doing like a 4 or 5 mile walk after a Players' Championship and things like that, and just getting a bit of fresh air and clearing my head.
Speak about local support. We saw the clips from one of your locals there, the final one in the pub, the celebrations after. Have you been able to get over there yet with the trophy, or have you took it round anywhere else?
I haven't, no, I haven't. I've come home, and I've literally just had the kids here, and I've been doing school runs again, and it's just sort of back to normality and practicing as well, trying to get ready for the Players' Champs, because it's just literally come straight again. I'm off to Barnsley again tomorrow. So, and I haven't had time yet, but I can't wait, to be fair. I said I'll probably pop down on Sunday now. I've got to do the Grand Slam qualifier, pop to the Crown and Sceptre in Dover. I've had great support. That's where all my friends are as well, and they're fantastic, even to the point where, some of them may not be, great dart players even, but you know what, they'll stand there and they'll make me throw darts, and they'll practice with me, and just to keep me occupied and stuff like that. I can't thank them enough for the support. And again, it's not just now. They've been supporting me, my friends down there, for the last 5-6 years, something like that. They've been amazing. Good
times. And lastly, before we let you go, as you say, that the schedule is not showing up any signs of slowing down. You've got the Pro Tours this week, you're in the Grand Slam next week, then you've got Minehead, then the small matter of Ali Pali. So how much are you looking forward to these next few months as a major champion and seeing what you can do off the back of this title? Obviously I'm over the moon. I can't wait. I really can't wait. In a way, I sort of want to get stuck in straight away. I'm really looking forward to going to Barnsley and not putting this behind me, but because obviously it's something that you want to keep forever. But I think it's, when you hear about the best players, and not just in darts but in any sport, I listen to a lot of documentaries and watch a lot of stuff, and like you hear Alex Ferguson with the old Man United teams, it's the next one, or you hear Phil Taylor, forget it, get on with the next one, and Bristow and people like, you hear it all the time. So I sort of want to switch off now and sort of just get on with the next tournament, and but really knuckle down as well. I don't want to just be somebody who's won one tournament and that's it, forget about it for the next year. I want to really concentrate and kick on, like people like Gezi has, Gavin Price has kicked on, Johnny Clayton, they win their first titles, and they then commit, and they're still at that level now. So that's the aim and the achievement that I want to get to. It's a good aim to have. Well, Ross, it's a pleasure to chat to you. We appreciate your time so soon after winning the title of the weekend. Congratulations on getting that first major title, and wish you all the best for the rest of the year as well.
No problem at all. Privilege. Thank you for having me.